Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about the mind. It's a battleground, and if you don't train it, if you don't condition it, it will betray you. It will conspire with your doubts, your fears, and your excuses to keep you small. That's not conspiracy theory, that's human nature. But you weren't made to be small. You were made to win, and winning starts in the mind. To train your mind for victory, you've got to make a pact, a covenant with yourself, that no thought, no feeling, no momentary weakness will ever have the chance to steal from you the life you're destined to live. It starts with awareness. You've got to notice what you're thinking. Most people rarely do that. They live in autopilot. They let thoughts drift in and out like background noise. But your thoughts are not idle. They're scripts, and those scripts become habits. Habits become actions, actions become character, and character becomes destiny. So if you want victory, you have to go upstream, catch the thoughts before they roll unchecked into your heart, into your actions, into your life. Now, when a negative thought enters, maybe it's "I'll never be enough," or "this is too hard," or "what if I fail," you can't just hope it goes away. You have to engage it. You have to challenge it. You have to say, "Wait a minute, that's a story, not the truth." If victory is on the line, you don't let your mind wander into defeat. You interrupt the autopilot. You demand evidence. You collect the facts. And if the facts don't back up the fear, you cancel the fear. You train your mind to say, "That's not going to run the show." If the mind is a muscle, then negativity is the resistance you lift to get stronger. You build mental strength by repeatedly questioning that voice that says you can't. You swap "I can't" with "I can learn." You swap "what if I fail" with "what if I grow." That's the training. It's not easy. It's deliberate. It's consistent. It's a series of tiny wars you win in your own head so that the real wars, on the field, in the boardroom, in relationships, are easier to handle. Because battle isn't decided by the gun or the pen or the mic. It's decided by who wins the argument in their own mind. Think of your mind like a garden. Left unattended, weeds of fear, procrastination, envy, and doubt will choke out your dreams. Every thought you entertain is a seed. Notice that a single thought can sprout a forest of problems, or it can blossom into a breakthrough. You decide what you plant, and you guard what you plant. You don't just plant seeds and wander off. You tend the garden, you water the good thoughts, you uproot the weeds before they spread. That's mental hygiene, that's mental fitness, and that's non-negotiable if you want victory. You also have to train your mind to endure. Because victory doesn't show up in comfort zones, it shows up in struggle. It shows up when you're tired, when you've been knocked down, when you've been told no too many times, and that voice in your head. It gets louder then. It tests you. Give up. You've done enough. It's time to quit. If you let that voice win, then you'll pay a heavy price, the price of regret. But if you train your mind to fight back, to stand up, to refuse the temptation to quit, that's where you learn what you're made of. Training the mind for victory is about becoming a student of your own resilience. It's about learning that you don't just persevere when it's easy. You persevere when it hurts. You persist when it's bleak. You show up when you've nothing left to give, and every time you do that, you're branding your mind with the truth. Asterisk, you are unstoppable, asterisk. That knowledge grows, and soon, it's not just a mindset. It's your identity. Then there's faith. Faith isn't religious jargon here. It's the confidence in what you can't yet see. Training your mind means trusting that your efforts today are building tomorrow's victories. You don't need to feel it. You just need to know it. You plant the seed even when it seems like nothing is happening. You work even when the crowd isn't watching. You prepare even when the spotlight isn't on you. And in that unseen work, you train your mind to trust the process. Victory isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. So you learn to value the quiet wins the early way. Cups, the disciplined reps, the moments you said no, to impulse and yes to purpose. And as your mental strength and faith grow, something powerful happens. You stop fearing the future. because you realize that the only future worth fearing is the one where you didn't show up, where you didn't fight, where you let your mind betray you. So with every challenge, you don't ask, "Can I do this?" You ask, "What do I need to do it?" You don't say, "I'm scared." You say, "I'll be brave," because you've trained your mind to face forward, not backward, to focus on solutions, not problems, to believe in your ability to grow, adapt, be resourceful. That's mental training. That's preparing for victory. Victory also demands clarity, and clarity comes from asking disciplined questions. What am I doing now? Why am I doing it? How does it move me toward my goal? When you train your mind to ask those questions, you begin to weed out noise. You begin to sharpen your focus, and you begin to live intentionally, not reactively. You begin to look at your calendar and your choices through the lens of purpose. And when your mind is trained to ask, "Does this serve my vision?" you'll steer away from the distractions and sink into what moves you forward. Training your mind includes training your words. The narrative you tell yourself is the script you live by. If you speak from limitation, your actions contract. If you speak from possibility, your actions expand. So start talking like a champion, even if it feels fake at first. Because repetition rewires your brain, you're not lying to yourself. You are rewiring your baseline. "I'm capable. I'm learning. I've got this." You anchor your identity in action and possibility. That's training. You're teaching your mind to expect progress, not obstacles. And here's the hardest part. Your mind will rebel. It loves shortcuts. It resists change. It covets comfort. It'd rather watch TV than rewrite a script. That's why training it requires discipline. It's not a one-time seminar. It's a daily workout. You don't go 2 times and expect a transformation. You go until your muscles burn, until your resistance breaks, until your thoughts stop betraying you. You go until your mind is no longer your enemy, but your ally. If you commit to that training, victory becomes more than a wish. It becomes inevitable, not because life stops being hard, but because your mind grows more capable. Your resolve becomes more refined, your vision grows sharper. You start winning internal battles that prepare you for external ones. That's how you become unstoppable, inside and out, inside first, and then the world becomes easier because your mind has already conquered it. So train hard, daily, relentlessly. Secure your mind like it's the fortress of your future, because it is. Every thought, every internal dialogue, every time you push back on doubt, every time you choose focus over distraction, every affirmation, every challenge accepted, every oppressive voice refused. These are the reps that build the champion's mind, that leads to victory after victory. Your mind doesn't grow strong by accident. It doesn't become sharp, resilient, and disciplined because you read a book or watched an inspiring video one time. Just like the body, the mind is a system of habits and repetition. And if you want to become mentally strong, if you want to hold the weight of your goals and withstand the pressure that comes with purpose, you have to train your mind daily, deliberately, and without excuse. It's not optional. It's a requirement for anyone who wants to break through mediocrity and rise above the mental noise that keeps most people stuck. Every day, your mind is being trained, whether by you or by the world around you. If you don't take conscious control of that process, you will be conditioned by distraction, by fear, by scarcity, by comfort. Left untrained, your mind becomes reactive. It becomes weak. It gives up when things get hard. It caves under pressure. It follows the easiest route, not the meaningful one. But when you train your mind like a muscle, you begin to direct your life with force. You start choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. You start showing up with clarity and grit, even when conditions aren't perfect. The truth is, every thought you entertain is a rep. Every belief you reinforce is a mental exercise. If you constantly tell yourself you're tired, unworthy, or incapable, you're doing daily reps in self-doubt. You're strengthening the wrong muscle. But if you wake up and feed your mind with intention, if you challenge limiting thoughts, if you direct your focus toward growth, if you demand mental precision instead of emotional chaos, then you're building the kind of strength that sustains effort, commitment, and vision through difficulty. No one ever achieved greatness with a lazy mind. Discipline, clarity, emotional control. These are forged. They are earned through mental repetition. It's easy to say, I'll start tomorrow, or I'm just not feeling it today. But each time you do that, you're reinforcing the neural pathway of avoidance. You're strengthening the muscle of excuse. And over time, your mind defaults to that pattern, even when you want more from yourself. That's why you train daily. You override those defaults before they become destiny. Training your mind doesn't require perfect conditions. It just requires intention. It means you take ownership of your thoughts first thing in the morning. It means you feed your mind with ideas that challenge you, that stretch you. It means you pay attention to your internal dialogue throughout the day, not to criticize yourself, but to coach yourself. Most people talk to themselves like enemies. A trained mind speaks with power, with truth, with discipline. It doesn't coddle. It doesn't lie. It says, this is what needs to be done. Let's go. The mind, like the body, grows under tension. You want to grow mentally. Put yourself in situations that stretch you. Speak when it's uncomfortable. Focus when it's easier to scroll. Finish when quitting would be more convenient. Hold your character when no one's watching. These are mental reps. They don't look impressive. They won't get applause. But they build strength you'll need later when life hits harder, when the stakes are higher, when it's your vision on the line and no one is coming to save you. Mental training also involves reflection, not just doing, but thinking about what you're doing. Every day becomes feedback. You ask, where did I react instead of respond? Where did I allow distraction to take over? Where did I let fear dictate action? That awareness is part of the training. You're not just building willpower. You're building wisdom. You're learning to see yourself clearly. And that clarity becomes power, because once you see the patterns that hold you back, you can dismantle them one thought at a time. A lot of people chase motivation, but motivation is the reward, not the tool. You don't wait for it. You earn it through consistency. When you train your mind daily, you start to build internal proof. I said I'd do this, and I did. I followed through. I showed up. That's what builds confidence. Not compliments, not hype, internal consistency. That's what separates someone who dreams from someone who executes. Think about a top athlete. They don't train only when they feel like it. They train because the future they're preparing for demands strength, endurance, and readiness that can't be built in the moment of need. Same with the mind. You don't want to be scrambling for courage, discipline, or clarity when you're in a crisis. You want to have built those reserves already through the quiet, daily effort no one else sees. That's how you win battles before they even start. It's not glamorous, and it's not always rewarding in the short term. Some days you'll question why you're doing it. Some days it will feel like nothing is changing, but every single rep counts. Every moment you choose discipline over distraction, purpose over passivity, clarity over chaos, you are rewiring your brain. You are reshaping your identity, and over time your baseline changes. What once felt hard becomes normal. What once broke you becomes routine. That's the power of daily training. It also requires protecting your inputs. What are you watching, reading, listening to? Who are you spending time with? You wouldn't eat junk food every day and expect to get physically stronger. Don't feed your mind garbage and expect strength either. Curate your environment. Make sure what you consume mentally aligns with who you want to become. That's part of the discipline. That's part of the training. And don't confuse information with transformation. You can read all the books in the world, but if you're not applying, if you're not living it, your mind isn't being trained. It's being entertained. Training requires embodiment. It requires action. It's not what you know, it's what you practice. And practice means repetition, especially when it's boring, especially when it's hard, especially when the results are invisible. That's where most people quit. But if you stay consistent, something incredible happens. Your identity shifts. You stop saying, I'm trying. You start saying, this is who I am. Eventually, the discipline becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it as much. You wake up, and your mind is already tuned for battle. You already know what matters, what to ignore, what to pursue. That's the reward of the daily grind. You build a system so strong that it holds you when motivation runs dry. You don't rise and fall based on feelings anymore. You operate from a mental foundation rooted in purpose, forged by repetition. And when others look at your results, they'll call it talent or luck. But you'll know the truth. You trained for this. You built it, thought by thought, choice by choice, rep by rep. In a world filled with constant noise, relentless distractions, and endless options vying for our attention, clarity, focus, and purpose become the rarest and most valuable commodities. Your mind, left unchecked, will wander endlessly, pulled by the bright lights of social media, the urgent but meaningless demands of the day, and the seductive comfort of procrastination. The result is a scattered, overwhelmed mental state where true progress feels impossible. To train your mind for victory, you must deliberately replace noise with clarity, distraction with focus, and aimlessness with purpose. Clarity is not just knowing what you want. It's knowing why you want it, and understanding how the pieces fit together. It's a deep internal map of your goals, values, and priorities, so precise that when chaos arrives, and it always does, you can navigate through it without losing your way. Without clarity, your energy leaks out in all directions. You spin your wheels. You chase after shiny things that aren't aligned with your mission. You get caught up in the opinions of others or in fleeting trends that offer no real traction toward your vision. Clarity cuts through that fog. It sharpens your mind and creates a foundation on which focus can build. Focus is the muscle that acts on clarity. It's the discipline to eliminate distractions, to say no repeatedly, to guard your attention as fiercely as you guard your time. Focus means you don't just know where you're going. You don't let anything pull you off course. In a culture obsessed with instant gratification and constant connection, focus becomes a revolutionary act. It requires that you say no to the endless scroll, the impulsive check-ins, the multitasking that leaves nothing done well. You must train your mind to resist these temptations because every moment spent distracted is a moment stolen from your progress. Purpose is the fuel that powers both clarity and focus. Without purpose, clarity becomes cold and rigid. Focus becomes mechanical and joyless. Purpose connects you to something greater than yourself. It gives your daily efforts meaning. It makes the sacrifice of saying no worthwhile. When you have a purpose that resonates at a deep level, your mind aligns naturally. You move through resistance with greater ease because you understand that your struggles serve a meaningful end. Purpose transforms discipline from drudgery into dedication. But how do you cultivate this triumvirate of clarity, focus, and purpose when the world is designed to pull you in every direction? It begins with your environment. You have to create boundaries that protect your mental space. That might mean turning off notifications, setting specific times for checking email or social media, or carving out intentional periods for deep work. It also means cultivating habits that reinforce your priorities. When you consistently choose activities aligned with your goals, your mind begins to recognize and reward those choices, building momentum that makes clarity and focus easier over time. Another key is intentional reflection. Without taking time to step back and assess your goals and progress, it's easy to lose sight of your purpose. Set aside moments daily or weekly to ask yourself, am I moving toward what truly matters? Are my actions supporting my vision, or am I caught in a cycle of reaction and distraction? These questions force your mind out of autopilot and back into command. The act of reflection is itself a training exercise, strengthening the neural pathways that support awareness, intentionality, and course correction. Noise in your mind often comes from unresolved thoughts, anxiety about the future, or cluttered priorities. To clear this noise, you must practice mental decluttering. Techniques like journaling, meditation, or simply spending quiet time alone can help you sift through the mental static. When your thoughts are organized, your mind is freed to focus sharply. It's like cleaning a lens before taking a picture. Clarity comes only after you remove the smudges and distractions. Purpose also anchors your emotional state. When you know why you're enduring difficulty, you're less likely to be swayed by fear, doubt, or frustration. Purpose provides resilience. It's the inner voice that reminds you of the bigger picture when immediate circumstances look bleak. This internal alignment between what you do and why you do it creates a feedback loop that reinforces focus. The more purpose you have, the more disciplined your mind becomes, and the easier it is to maintain clarity amidst chaos. When focus is strong, it shapes how you interact with time. You become deliberate about scheduling, prioritizing, and energy management. Time is your most precious resource, and a focused mind guards it zealously. Instead of reacting to every demand, you allocate your time based on your highest priorities. This selective approach to your daily schedule isn't restrictive, it's liberating. It creates space for deep work, for creativity, for rest, and for relationships that matter. Without focus, your time becomes fragmented and ineffective, and your progress stalls. The challenge is that clarity, focus, and purpose are not static states. They require constant attention. The moment you relax your guard, noise seeps back in, distractions multiply, and your purpose can feel diluted. That's why mental training is ongoing. Each day presents new tests. Will you scroll mindlessly or choose to work on your craft? Will you engage in shallow tasks or invest in your growth? Will you react emotionally or respond thoughtfully? Your answers to these questions train your mind, reinforcing what matters and weakening what doesn't. People often underestimate the power of small choices made consistently. Every time you reject distraction, you build mental muscle. Every moment spent clarifying your goals strengthens your internal compass. Every action aligned with your purpose is a brick laid in the foundation of your victory. These small, often unseen efforts compound over time, transforming your mental landscape from chaotic to focused, from scattered to clear, from aimless to purposeful. In this process, you also develop the skill of selective attention. Your mind learns to tune out noise and zero in on what's essential. This skill is not about ignoring everything else, but about choosing where your energy goes. It's about recognizing the difference between what deserves your focus and what doesn't. It's about learning to say no gracefully, to protect your mental bandwidth, and to invest deeply in the few things that move the needle. Clarity, focus, and purpose together create a powerful trinity that governs your mental state. Without any one of them, the whole system falters. Clarity without purpose feels hollow. Focus without clarity wanders. Purpose without focus dissipates energy. But when aligned, they create a mental fortress. They give you the tools to cut through the noise of life's demands and keep your mind steady on the prize. Your environment, habits, reflection, and emotional alignment are the training grounds where these qualities develop. They require commitment and sacrifice because the world offers endless distractions designed to erode your mental discipline. But the prize is worth the effort. A mind trained in clarity, focus, and purpose is a mind prepared for victory. It's a mind that sees through chaos, resists temptation, and moves with deliberate power toward what matters most. As you cultivate these qualities, you begin to see the world differently. You no longer react to every impulse or external demand. You operate from a centered place, your decisions become intentional, your actions consistent, and your progress inevitable. The noise fades, the distractions lose their grip, and your purpose shines bright. And in that space, victory becomes not just possible but certain. The reality is that the landscape of your outer life, your success, your relationships, your achievements, is a direct reflection of your inner world. What you carry inside in your mind and spirit shapes everything you experience outside. It's easy to blame external circumstances when things don't go the way you want. But the truth is that your internal environment, your beliefs, your mindset, your emotional state, creates the conditions for what you attract and accomplish in the world. If you want to change your outer world, the starting point is always within. Your inner world consists of the stories you tell yourself, the narratives you accept about who you are and what's possible for you. These stories are the lens through which you view reality. If your internal narrative is one of scarcity, fear, or limitation, your actions and decisions will mirror that perspective. You'll hesitate second, guess, and shrink away from opportunities because inside you've already decided you can't succeed. But if your internal dialogue is one of possibility, growth, and resilience, your outer actions will reflect that. You'll pursue challenges boldly, persist through setbacks, and create momentum toward your goals. The problem is, most people don't pay attention to their inner world. They leave it unchecked, allowing negative thoughts, self-doubt, and toxic beliefs to grow unchecked like weeds. This neglect doesn't just stay inside. It leaks out in how they show up in the world. It affects confidence, communication, relationships, and performance. The quality of your thinking directly influences your behavior. Poor mental habits produce poor outcomes. Strong mental habits produce strong results. To master your outer success, you must first master your inner world. That means becoming aware of your thought patterns and emotional states. It means catching yourself when your mind spirals into negativity or fear. It means questioning the validity of the stories you tell yourself. Are these thoughts true? Are they helpful? Are they serving my growth? This kind of introspection is difficult but necessary. It requires courage to look honestly at the ways you undermine yourself and to commit to change. Building a strong inner world is like building a fortress. You must reinforce it daily with truth, with discipline, and with intentionality. This involves choosing empowering beliefs over limiting ones. It means training your mind to focus on solutions rather than problems. It means cultivating emotional resilience so that setbacks don't shake your foundation. It's about nurturing a sense of purpose and meaning that fuels your motivation even when external circumstances are tough. One key aspect of the inner world is your emotional landscape. Emotions are powerful signals, but they can also be misleading if left unchecked. Fear, anger, frustration. These are natural, but if you let them dictate your actions, they become barriers to success. Emotional discipline means acknowledging your feelings without letting them hijack your decisions. It means choosing response over reaction. When your inner emotional state is stable and aligned with your goals, you operate from clarity and strength. Another critical factor is mindset, the way you interpret challenges and opportunities. A growth mindset, which sees failure as feedback and effort as the path to mastery, strengthens your inner world. It allows you to persevere and adapt. A fixed mindset, which views abilities as static and failures as personal deficits, weakens it. Your mindset colors how you approach every obstacle and every victory. Cultivating a mindset of growth is an active process of rewiring your brain through consistent thought patterns and actions. The stories you tell yourself about your worthiness and potential also shape your outer success. If deep down you believe you don't deserve success or happiness, you'll unconsciously sabotage your efforts. This can show up as procrastination, self-sabotage, or settling for less than you're capable of. Transforming these limiting beliefs requires intentional work, affirmations, visualization, and surrounding yourself with influences that reinforce your value and potential. Your inner self-image must match the success you desire externally. Your inner world also sets the tone for your energy and presence. People can sense when someone is confident versus insecure, calm versus anxious, purposeful versus aimless. This energy influences how others perceive and respond to you, which directly affects your opportunities and relationships. Cultivating a positive inner state isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about building genuine self-trust and authenticity. When you carry that inside, it radiates outward and attracts the right circumstances. Importantly, your inner world determines your habits, the small choices you make every day, how you spend your time, how you speak to yourself, how you respond to challenges, are rooted in your internal beliefs and emotions. Successful people have trained their inner world to support productive, consistent habits. These habits compound over time into extraordinary results. You cannot outwork a mind that is internally fragmented or negative. Mental strength is the soil from which effective habits grow. This connection between inner and outer worlds means that external success is not a random stroke of luck or mere external circumstance. It is the natural outcome of an internal state cultivated with care and intention. When your mind is disciplined, your emotions aligned, your beliefs empowering, your habits consistent, the outer world reflects that strength. Doors open, relationships deepen, and opportunities flow, not because the world owes you, but because you've become someone capable of receiving and sustaining those blessings. At the same time, the process of aligning your inner world is ongoing. It requires continual awareness and adjustment. Life will test your mental and emotional resilience repeatedly. Old doubts and fears may resurface. That's normal. The difference is how you respond. A trained inner world faces these challenges with curiosity and determination. It does not retreat into old patterns, but embraces growth as a lifelong journey. The stronger your inner foundation, the more your outer success will be steady and lasting. Ultimately, your inner world is the soil in which the seeds of victory are planted. You must tend to it daily, cultivating positive thoughts, nurturing emotional balance, uprooting limiting beliefs, and reinforcing empowering ones. This inner work is invisible to most but indispensable to the few who achieve lasting success. When your internal environment is rich, your external world will flourish naturally. Your outer reality is never more powerful than the state of your inner world. To win outside, you must first win inside.